Hey everyone. All right. Today we're going to keep working on the magic system. Saw some interesting things there. So right now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work through. Hey Casey, how's it going? Hope all's well. I tried giving you a call earlier, but understand. But yeah. So yeah, I'm going to work through the magic system here and try to get things in the right place. Good deal. You're 2 hours behind right now, right? I always get confused because y'all do time the right way. And we're off. I agree, it's the right way, and I'm very jealous. But yeah, so right now we've got kind of the magic system. 2 hours, yeah. The thing we don't have is like putting it in the right spot, right? I think I'm close on it. I don't think that'll be too difficult, but I need to put it in the right spot here. So you can see there, it gets put at the top because that's where the priority is. And then, yeah, very jealous of your no daylight savings time. And then the other thing we need to do is start adding damage. So getting pretty close here. Going to be working on that. But first, I'm going to put it in the right spot in the priority. Originally, I was going to go do damage first. I still will here pretty quickly. I don't think it's going to take too long to put it in the right spot in the priority. I think we've got the code kind of aligned in a way that makes it pretty straightforward. Let's check. Okay, well, let's go and get started here. No major bugs really there. There was the animation bug. I don't know if you saw it. Essentially, if they are being attacked and then it's their turn next, there's not enough time for them to finish their animation. I think that's actually a pretty easy bug. And essentially what it is every time I set a counter, like if I go over to a character, right, and I look at the on hit, which right now it's in here, but it will be in the damage node that we're building up. Right now it's here. And essentially the hit right here, I believe, let's see, one of these triggers the animation. I guess I could check the animation tree and find out. So getting hit is triggered by hit. Yeah, so essentially right here, this is what triggers the animation start. All I really have to do, and this is pseudocode, right? But I would turn off and on the animation player, which actually should be pretty easy. So that's kind of the trick for resetting animations. Just every time I'm going to trigger one, just turn off and on the animation player. Then I don't have to worry about it. So, all right, but I'll go ahead and get started here on my magic here. So let me go down to the priority list. I think that's where this code lives, and I actually think I'm a few lines from having it. I don't think it's too bad at all. And I think it's here. So essentially, what this does is it gets priority from this function up here. Let's see where this function is. So this function here calculates all the priorities to determine both the priority list and the turn order. Really, it determines the priority list by calculating what the turn order is going to be, because the turn order just populates priority every frame based on speed. But the thing I'm kind of running into, let's see. So I walk through, I define. Let's look at some numbers down here. I should be printing. Let me see if I'm still printing my expected priority here, or if I turn that off. Let's see. Okay, I am. So you see this expected down here? Essentially, every time I do this, that's the calculated move order. When I go here, that calculated move order, being in this case 111, should trigger And I think if it's way down here, it actually might stay. Because if it's larger than my charge time, it should stay. It does. It wasn't quite in the right spot. So that's kind of the debugging I need to do. I think for some reason, I think I have to be using two different functions, and I probably need to just call it out as a function, like progress priority or something. Because you could see, let me show you this. Kind of interesting. If I go down, I start at like negative something, and I think that's because I'm subtracting by like 1/100th of my speed. And the reason I'm doing that is so that faster players go first. But yeah, so if I do this, right, you can see blank, blank, blank. That's where the fire should pop in after Arya. And if I do that, it goes to the top. So yeah, I think I have it right. Everyone's priority after placing. So I do have that right after you place it. Right now, the very last thing it does is it calls this function which writes everybody's priority list. So it does it when you confirm magic, and then after the magic is cast, it does it. So I am doing that. Yeah, I think I'm using two different. Let me see something. Actually, it might be in the right spot. Let me check. The thing a little bit. So I don't know why it's going back to the top though. I have to be missing something. Because it actually was working. Okay, so here you can see the priority down there. The charge time. Oh, meant in the debugging section. Yeah, that's what that expected is. That expected is priority. But yeah, I got you. So afterwards, print everyone's priority. That's a good idea. I'll have it do that. That is a really good idea. Let's go ahead and do that. That way we have it. That way you have it. No, yeah. No, not your bad. Understand. Okay, so let's see. So print priority array here. And that should give me everyone's priority. And I would do that every time I display the priority list. So it should be pretty often. And I'll see what's going on. And that should also include my spell, because my spell will be in that priority array. So let's see what happens. Okay. So yes. Oh, the only problem. I can fix that. I was going to say the only problem is it prints 100 because it calculates 100 at a time, but I can actually fix that. I actually have that control here. So I can say, 10. Just while we're debugging here. So let's check that out. That was a lot in the log, yeah. That's better. Okay. So, it is returning correctly. If you see here, like negative 0.07, and then negative 0.065, 4.95. So it is all correct. And then if I do this, which is the one after, right? I would expect my magic. Do I have magic? Okay, yeah, so this gets at, okay. I think here I am okay. I think I'm double subtracting priority, because that's going down to negative 72.07. This is the calculated priority. Oh, interesting. Okay. So one of the things I'm doing to put that in the right order and put it in the right spot is I'm subtracting 100, or it's actually subtracting the priority cost every time, because I wanted it to start at 0 and be referenced from 0 right here. The problem with that really though is if I have something that's at 0 priority and I want it to be in the right place in the move order, I think I need to do like 100 minus my charge time. But the 100 is pretty arbitrary because my spells have different charge times. So let me see if I'm double counting it. I might be double subtracting it. Let's see here. So that's charge time. Yeah, really. Maybe I need to do this plus. priority cost. Does that make sense? Maybe I shouldn't be subtracting priority. Let me see. So maybe I shouldn't be subtracting priority from there. The only problem with that, if I don't subtract priority, you're going to have everything based around 100. So immediately you're going to be casting the spells. So I need it in the calculation, and maybe I just need to do this in 2 spots. I need it in the calculation up here. So like where I'm selecting it, where I'm actually like selecting the item in here. I need it to be using the updated priority costs. What I probably need to do is do this minus priority cost. Yeah, I think you're right. I think keeping the real priority is good, or the real calculated priority because it's calculated. So let's look at that real quick. Let's take that down, and I'll fix it on the other side. Yeah, because indexing at 0 there probably doesn't make sense. And that would be here. Let's get rid of this. It's not going to work because my fire is going to be off. Let me think. Okay, so there's my list. And we can see the priorities are really high. So it immediately casts fire. But the big deal is that like these are approaching 100, right? Or they're at 100 technically. They're just subtracting their speed. So that means they're ready to go. Let me think real quick. But then I calculate priorities, right? So what I do is I go through everybody, put them in the right spot, and then I calculate how many turns it's going to take to get there. So really, this is what you see. Really should be how much priority needs to be generated before their turn. That's really what needs to occur. So based on that, you know, how much priority is needed to generate before their turn. Oh, you know what? I think the interesting thing here. Yeah. So I click it subtracts twice or adds the church. Yeah. I think I'm just double counting it. But I think the really interesting thing is I'm not actually taking into account. Let me think here. So like I have my character priority plus that. I really don't want my character priority plus that, I don't think. So yeah, it shows negative 0.7, adds the charge time, subtracts 100 again from the spell, correct. Yeah. I think my mistake there is that I'm counting the current character's priority because really I don't care about the priority at this point. Hey, BWAG, how's it going? I care about when they're going to go, which is actually I. I is the order that they're going to go in. I'm just trying to normalize it with speed. Yeah, so maybe I don't want to include the existing priority. And so I think I'm adding in the subtracting, but I think the spells, like the magic, is getting a bigger hit from that because the max priority is so much lower. So really all I care about is I. So right now there's this. That should still be in the right order. It's like fire, I'm going to put after Arya, right? And it's going to put it down, way down there. Okay, we can look at this. So basically they need negative 0.7 until they go. Made some nice progress on your snake. Good deal. And it starts at 2, not 1. You're working the array, so, you know, sounds like you're probably pretty close though, because then you just need to force the array to be 1. So very nice. I'm glad you're making some progress on it. Okay, so where's the fire? Fire is now 41.93, which means it needs 40 to go. Which doesn't really make sense because the max charge on that is 20. Which should have been what it is. Let me think here. Let me think. Let's see. Maybe so. Originally, when I did this, I had it where it was just looking at I. So I was just doing like float of I. So the expected is good. I am getting the expected, but the expected calculates based on, well, the expected actually just takes this number. So this number returns, right? This number returns and then it gets turned into expected. So it populates up here, in here, and then that gets passed down to priority. That goes through back to my state machine, and then my state machine spits it back over to here. So it's just the full away. So expected is the calculation. Those are the same number. It's just through a bunch of signals to get back there. And I was taking the expected, like when I populate here, I'll show you. So when I like populate the node, right, I am taking the expected right here, new priority, and I'm just subtracting 1/1000th so that I can put it ahead of the new thing. When I originally did this, yeah, it looks like maybe it's doubling for some reason, which is interesting. So I might be, let me see. Okay, so let's see. Expected. Okay, so this is good. Right there is 29.95 is expected, and that's after ARIA. That all looks good. And then when I place it, it should be 29.95. But it goes after Kale, and now it's 41.93. So yeah, I definitely interesting here. And they've got new priority, right? You can see this. This is this. So new priority is correct. You know what? Maybe I am. Actually, you know what? I might remember adding something. It was late, but I kind of remember adding something here. Let me go up to casting magic. Let's see. Is it in casting? Or maybe confirm magic? Let's see. Additional priority is new priority still. So that's good. Not there. Let's go to casting. I don't use it here. Okay, that's because I'm already casting, so it's good. Let me go back to magic select maybe. Priority number, no modifications there. Confirm magic. Yeah, so I'm not actually changing it anywhere else. Yeah, I do call it several times because, again, like one of my coding things I'm trying to do is keep all of my signal path to be consistent through my state machine. So therefore, I'm sending it through a lot of places. Yeah, debugging can be pretty bad. It's definitely challenging. I just need to follow the signal is really what I need to do. So figure out, I wonder if there's there probably is in Godot like a signal path, and that would actually be really helpful to watch it. But right here, we know right here, it's the right number. Somewhere between right here and getting put in the priority list, it's changing. Let's see what that is. So I'm gonna add them to priority list here, right? And, oh, actually, you know what? Oh, that's my max priority. I am setting the max priority here. Let me print here. Let's add some names to these print statements. So this is expected, right? We know that's working. This is going to be stated charge. And I'm going to do one more that is final charge. And then this is going to be magic dot max priority. I think that should tell me it should be this number, probably. If it's not that number, then yeah, after this point, it's being manipulated somewhere. Let's see. So let's cast the spell. After Aria. Let's see. Oh, it broke. Okay, so max priority is... Did I spell something wrong? Oh, magic node. I see. It's locked to 10 to 10, so it won't keep expanding. All the opening and closing it does is just hides it. It's technically always there. It's like opening and closing it. just hides it. Let's see. So yeah, if I do that, okay, and then we can see 41.93 versus 49.949, which is actually what it should be. So it is getting set correctly. So it's sometime after this. So then we append it to the priority list. It recalculates the magic priority after that. So then that comes up here to go calculate the future priority here to go determine. And so if essentially while test priority, I think it's got to be a problem with this really. So the way this works, and we did just make a bunch of changes to here, so it's very possible that we messed something up. But the way it works is it goes in here and it calculates, it tries to calculate a test priority to when it is greater than the max priority, or I guess is less. Oh yeah, until it's greater, right? And then it counts how many frames it takes to do that. Because when I advance priority, I just advance by speed per frame. So then what it does is it takes that and it says, hey, your current priority plus your speed times I. So I do think I want this to be consistent with that. So I do think I want character dot priority here plus that. I think the issue is that characters whose turn it is now is really, it's their turn right now, right? When it's their turn right now, they're not going to be calculated the same way. And because I have different max priorities, in terms of like my people have one priority and my spells have a different priority, it might be a problem. So you can see there, it's like 99. It's like if I put it here now, after Arya, now it's still going to go down. And what's my new 111.93? And it should have been 104.949. So yeah, need to figure out why. So that really means that it's calculating wrong. Well, actually, there is there's actually some tolerance in there because like my speed, I think is like 5, right? If this like came up at 104 and then ran another iteration, it would be like 109 though, not 111. So that is interesting. And then because max priority is greater, it should stop right at that. Huh. But this doesn't account for that actually. So I am adding the I here, I times character speed. But what I'm not doing is capping test priority. Right? What I really should probably return is I should, let's see. Ultimately, I need to say if test priority is greater than max character.max priority. Max priority. Actually, no, that won't work. Well, yes, it will. Plus character.max priority times K. And actually priority cost, well, here's the deal. For a spell, it already ignores anything past K equals 1 because my spell is only going to get cast once. So this is like the number of turns. This is the turn number, and this is the number of rounds K is. But here if I do, okay, so that's going to be 100 either way. But yeah, so test priority is greater than character.max priority plus character.max priority times K. So essentially when K is 0, if it's greater than 100, I would make test priority equal to character.max priority plus character.max. Actually, you know what? Let's do this the simple way. The simple way here is to clamp equals clamp that, comma, minimum is 0, I guess. Maybe we can put like negative 100. Like, I don't really care what the negative is. -1. The maximum, though, is not that. It is character.max priority plus character dot. You know what we can do? Times 1 plus k. That should clamp that value, and then really what I need to return, because I can return it in there, right? Oh, that was my old one. You can see, yeah, so my old one, which I commented out, is that so every time that finishes, it's going to go through here, so I might as well, oh, no. I want to return it after, because I want to be out, but I can return test priority. Because it does this, but I do want to subtract. Let me see real quick. Is that right? No, I don't. I have to include I. Okay, so I add, this is my original one. Maybe I go back to my original one here, but let's see if my dealers won't clamp it, right? Which may be okay. Because like when it comes to actually doing the turn, it doesn't actually matter, right? Because it'll get to it. Okay. So let's look at this again. Oh yeah, before I was ignoring character speed times I think the issue with that, well, maybe that's good because I'm already accounting for character speed. And then maybe I should just divide my spell by character speed, which puts funny because it puts me at the original thing. It's sending to the list before it's adding the speed and I. Yeah, it's essentially using a different calculation because it's using this calculation to determine if where it should go. But this priority number here is the calculation above. So it's saying if the calculation above is greater than my charge time divided by cast speed, which should be the numbers, that's the issue. Yeah. Let me see. So that's how you go from 104 to 111 because it's adding speed, but speed's only 5. But I guess there's some tolerance because in the calculation, it doesn't clamp it. Even now, it won't clamp it in the return. But now I'm using I. So I'm using an I-based thing, which is how many frames it would take to go. So now if I put this after Aria, it still is after Aria because it's counting number of frames. Speed plus I, it's speed times I. I is the number of frames, and then so I multiply that by the speed as opposed to adding it. But that looks pretty good. Let's try this again. Okay, so that worked correctly. Let's try this again. Okay, so if I put after Alara, that did not work. Interesting that one didn't work, but the first one did. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, we'll do Fire 2 after Alara before Garrick. Okay, that worked. I wonder if something was wrong with water. Okay, I'm going to do this after Dan. Nope. Interesting. Okay, let's look at the list down here. Okay. Maybe it only works for one spell because future spells, maybe it doesn't know how to calculate. Let's see. So 8.95. You know what? It might be that, let's see. So Arya Arya, let's see, and Kale are in the same turn window, right? So putting on Dan, I'm guessing putting on Dan will put under Kale. Oh, interesting. My reference got turned around. That's weird. Okay, so, and that works. Okay, but then if I look here, so Kale, that Fire, Dan, and Alara are on the same turn, so I put it between them. I bet it would end up coming before Dan somewhere, maybe even before Fire. After Fire, yeah, okay. So now I'm at my dilemma where it is, I'm needing to put things between each other. But because speed, I might need to subdivide speed more. But I think we're actually getting pretty close. I think counting the number of frames is the right way to go, because now everyone's turns look correct. So I don't think it's every other spell. I think it has to do with where everybody's turns are and where you're placing the spell. So like right here, you can see the 10.93 in the bottom, then 10.935. I'm putting that there. So what I really need to do here is I need to place a priority here, which I think I can do. Let's see, where I am subtracting 0.001. That is the max priority. I need this times, max priority is this times speed, right? Magic node dot speed. Actually, it's not. It's this minus 0.001. Because again, the actual max priority, like charge time, isn't in frames. This is in priority, like priority points, like charge. And this right here, this number's in frames. To calculate and convert number of frames to number of charge priority, you have to multiply them. And I'm gonna subtract 001 to allow it to fit in the middle of 2. Okay, I've got like a 75% confidence here. This feels pretty good. Let's see what happens. All right. So let me find between 2 right there. So it's going to be underneath Alara, above Arya. Here we go. Oh, I just deleted like half my priority. Oh, that's because let me make my priority list back to 100 and clear that. Clear the list where I'm not putting the list every time. I do think I'm close, but it might have gotten confused. I got confused. So let me shift this back to 100. I will admit, the second time I'm only 50% confident. My confidence is going down pretty quick. Let's see. All right. So now between here, actually first let's do it above Alara, because that should be, okay, nope. I broke it. What is happening? Oh, you know what? Okay, nope, I got this. Okay, 0% chance that's gonna work. That was silly because I wasn't calculating this in terms of speed. So what I was doing was comparing number of frames to charge time. And I need to compare charge time to charge time. There's a conversion that I'm not taking into effect here. I do think number of frames works really well though, but I just have to convert it to speed whenever I'm calculating with it. Okay, so now I'm like 85% confident now. Let's see. Let's put it here first. So this is gonna be beneath Kale. What went beneath Dan? My final charge was 76.509. Which, let's pull the calculator out. 76 point, where'd my calculator go? Okay, let's see, 76.509 Yeah, obviously my confidence was misplaced. Divided by 5, because that's my character speed, is 15.3. Expected was 10. I may have one too many eyes in there. Okay, that's maybe a good point, is that when I'm calculating that placement, maybe one eye ahead, because I think there's actually one eye of tolerance. So I have to get smart with thinking through that, because yeah, it was essentially one frame off. I don't think it's as simple as subtracting by 1. Let me think that through. If I did priority -1, so essentially just pushed it forward a frame, times magic no dot speed, now that just would subtract 1 speed value, which I don't think gets me there. But that's how far I was off. I was off, I think, a clean speed. Let's check. I might have to go back to printing the priority list. Let's check. Okay, first off, let's do a simple one, which is here, beneath Kale. So above Dan should be straightforward. Okay, that one's correct. Okay, the next one, I want to put it here, between Alara and Arya. Did it do it? No. It's above Alara, but I'm subtracting 1 from the frame. So I think it's going to have to do with, let me see. So my final charge was 104.544. Pull the priority from the selected character and subtract 0.001 and then check if it's longer than the charge time. I think I am doing that. It's the only thing is it's in the calculation, I guess. I need to make sure, like, yeah, I am charging max priority. So yeah, new priority is the character's priority, right? So when I pull new priority, it is from the official priority list and it is the character's priority. And then I'm multiplying that by, it's the number of frames until their turn. And that's why up here, I actually had it calculating priority and then ended up going back to number of frames, because when I calculate their actual priority, I was running into a lot of issues. And it's because it's all like looking forward, right? But I think this is close. So this was right on the normal one and was not right on the kind of the index one. Why is that? So 104.544 first off. If I do 104.544 divided by 5, let's see what that is. 20.9088. See, it's 1 speed off still. I expected it to be, well, really, it's kind of interestingly off. I expected it to be 15.935, which, you know, that's interesting. Up here, did I calculate? Okay, so 69.509. 69.509 divided by 5. I might check and make sure all my character speeds are 5. Maybe they're not. That's 13.9, which it should have been 10.9. Interesting. And I don't know where this, like, interesting decimal's coming from. Like this decimal place. So yeah, this is checking their priority, the player's priority, and saying, hey, if their priority is greater than charge time, set their priority to, it really, I think, should be charge time, which is this, minus 0.001, which should put me to the right spot. Let's print beforehand and afterwards. Let's print all these things. So I am getting charge time, I am getting max priority, I'm getting new priority. Let's go ahead and print speed. Print. Now the decimal's in increments of 0.005 on the priority list itself, but I'm subtracting 0.1 or 0.001 Okay, that might make sense why I'm doing it here. I'm subtracting 0.001 at the end of it. So that's where that is where the weird decimal place is coming from, because I'm actually doing the subtraction after the fact, but I'm doing this to place it in between the two numbers, supposedly. But that's not gonna work. Oh, I see. So it actually should be minus 0.001 times magic node dot speed, which will end up being 0.005, because I've got to convert everything into that reference. Oh man. Okay. I think we're getting close. I think we're really, really close. And that would probably explain why it's working at some points and why it's not working at others. Okay, so let's see. First off, easy one is below Aria. This should be... Oh, that's not right. Okay. Why is that not right? And that's back to that 41.643 number when I expected it to be... Well, maybe I did expect it to be that. Let's see. Okay, so I have 5.95. 5.95 times 5. Yeah, I'm like 15%. My confidence is shot. Okay, so I mean 29.75. And this was 41.643. Interesting. Why did my final charge go up to that? Which I guess it would be this. Okay, so new priority times magic node dot speed, which should be the player speed. Let me check real quick and just make sure all my player speeds are 5. Just so I'm not overcomplicating this. Yes, 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 and yes. Okay, everybody has a speed of 5. Actually, that's probably not the case. I have other things impacting speed. I forgot that some of my weapons and armors and things impact speed. Okay. Now they don't. It was just cloth that impacted speed. So, that does help. I forgot that I had implemented some armor and stuff. That could be the discrepancy. I mean, it's not the problem, but it could be the discrepancy here. Because everything multiplies by the speed, so it should even out. Let's just check. Okay. That made them quite a bit slower. Okay, beneath Aria. So yeah, 14.95. Everybody has the exact same speed now, but yeah, beneath Aria. And it went beneath Dan. Let me think that through. And the final charge is 74.745. So it should have been 14.95 is the number of frames. Multiply that by speed, which is 5. And then subtract 0.005. And that should be the answer. 74.745. That is the answer. So that is correct. That worked. But it's obvious I'm calculating some things wrong. Which I could be calculating turn order wrong or differently. So, let's see. Up here, let's see, and everyone will have the same speed because of this, but then I put them in some order. Let's do this. Actually, let's see, when everyone had the same one, was it putting them? Yeah, it was differentiating them here. Which is good. Let me see. So I have float I minus character speed divided by 100. All this is it puts the faster ones in front. Yeah, the final charge is like what my max priority is, and it is sent to the priority list. So on the priority list, when it does the calculation, that's what it's looking at to determine when the move would go right here. I'm guessing, oh, you know what? This clamp probably isn't the right thing to do. Just while we're testing, like maybe it makes sense, but it's probably not useful because I'm not, I mean, it's fine. Ultimately, it probably actually doesn't matter at all. Let's just leave it off for now, for simplicity's sake. Okay. Let's see, minus priority cost times K. I think that's accurate. Let's check and make sure that the clamp, getting rid of the clamp didn't fix that. I don't think it will though, because ultimately the clamp would just stop, right? The clamp would just stop it from processing any further. Okay, we'll put it underneath Aria for now. And it goes underneath Garrick. Not even Dan this time. Okay, that is the right calculation based on expected. Am I printing just speed? I am printing just speed. Magic node dot speed. All right, so let me see. I think I'm just using different calculations here for that. So it should essentially be I times priority, except I have a starting point up here. And I know that my starting point down there is 0, right? So that's the difference. Maybe that makes all the difference. Huh. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, yeah, never mind. That's how many frames. Okay, so let me take some things here, right? I is how many frames until character's priority is less or is greater than max priority. I could just set it to some hard cap. So we could set it to, well, the charge is really what we need, and it's counting up to it. So that is calculating correctly. So it'd take 15 clicks to get to this essentially. But yeah, I guess I could try and think through here. So I could like say, hey, yeah, set this to like 15 or something. But I think this part's working correctly. Like the only part that's not. So we have confirmed, I think, that we're getting the right number for final charge. So like the final charge, it's good. What's not good is the calculation. Potentially. I got you, B-Wag. Yeah, I gotta figure this one out, and then maybe we can look at some Snake here. But yeah, post in the Discord. Happy to look at it. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not gonna touch final charge. Final charge is calculating exactly how it needs to. Let's go ahead and print that list right now. If we print the list, I should be able to see final charge. Right, or like see the actual final priority list. Let's go back to printing the priority. Print priority array. Now I think this would be in terms of frames. So we'll have to multiply everything by 5. Let's check that out real quick. All right. So it's going to be a list of like 100. That's okay. All right, so expected is 14.95. Let's go decipher this data. Okay, so final charge is 74.745. 14.95 is the number of frames, because remember these are number of frames. I tried putting it, where did I try putting it at? 14.95, and it actually put it at 15.95. Okay, so there's an extra 1 in there. Am I adding an extra 1 anywhere? Let's check. Where would I be adding a 1? I had my 1 plus K, but I guess that was not really part of it. Let's look. We're looking for a 1 here. That's interesting that it's... And it didn't subtract by 0.001. It looks like I'm adding 1, right? Because I expected 14.95. And actually, I really expected 14.95. No, if this is GD script. Then good to no, because the I is number of frames. So I'm hopefully not adding I. And yeah, this is number of frames. So it's saying 15.95 frames, which I guess maybe makes sense. Oh, you know what? That actually might make sense because, real quick, when I set the priority, that is how many frames it would take to get right to it, right? All right, sounds good. Thanks, BWAC. Hopefully I can get to it here in a second. But yeah, so this is actually like if I set this to like 15, right? That would say, hey, once it gets over 15, you know, you're good to go. However, it's not like incrementing in terms of like points. These are number of frames, right? And so everything's going to be actually be a round number of frames. I don't think I can actually set, you know, I can't set like a partial frame. I think that's my problem, is I am trying to set partial frames here, but my algorithm that determines this actually clips it. I may be able to resolve this by removing the clip. So when I do this, I have character priority equals max priority. I may be able to just get rid of that. And then when I sort by character, right now I'm sorting by like dot name. Let me see real quick when I do this sort. So I sort, let's see. So sort players. Oh, good deal. Glad you got that implemented there. Where's my sort players at? Okay, sort players here. So I sort based on speed here, and then sort ascending based on, because it assumes everyone's in the right space. So what I probably need to do is actually sort by priority. So instead of speed array, if I sorted by priority instead, that, and I don't cap the priority, then if I have one that goes a little faster, may work. Let me think this real quick. Would I have to do priority minus max priority? Because like really I'm trying to put the max priority in order, right? Like number of frames. So maybe it's the delta player dot max priority, right? I think that's right. Let's look at this. I feel I'm only like 5% confident in this, but I think we're on the right track. All right. First off, the easy one. Below Arya. Okay, it went below Garrick. Let's see what happened. So still the same thing. 14.95 times 5 is 74.745. And then my spell is 15.95. So yeah, it's taking 16 frames, right? Yeah, I think it does sound right. It's essentially taking 15 frames. So actually, you know what? I may have been on the right track with just subtracting 1 frame, because I want it to come 1 frame before the previous person. I do want sorting to be correct. So if I take here, subtract 1 from that, that would put me at 14.95. Right? And so I'd subtract 1 from this just to track what I'm doing here. And then this should subtract 0.005 from the final speed. So that may work here. Let's check. Okay, below Aria. Look at that. Okay, so that does go to the right spot. Now let's do a more complicated one. Okay, we're gonna go below Garrick. Look at that. Oh, that's great. Okay, so then we're gonna wait here, and Alara should cast fire. Perfect. And then Arya should go, and then Kael should cast water, and then Alara should go. All right, I think we got it. Okay, let's lock that in. I think that was right. I think we needed to. So what we did, to recap here, what we did was instead of capping the priority, we allowed the priority to go above it, right? So you can break 100 priority. And then what we did was made sure that when we sorted players, we sorted by their priority minus max priority to essentially say, hey, people who have spent more priority points gets priority over this. That actually helps a lot because it will sort by speed as well. So yes, I think that was a very good, good implementation, good debugging session, very successful. Fantastic. All right, cool. So I think the next thing we can do now is go into damage and start figuring that out. I will take a quick look. BWAG, can't make promises here, but I can take a quick look real quick and see if I see anything obvious in the Discord. We'll take a gander before we go into doing damage calculation. So let's see. First, let's expand here. It prints food +1, but it does not add the length. Okay. Let's go ahead and download this because it needs to be longer. All right. I'll take probably 5 minutes. Take a look at this, and then we'll go to damage. All right. So what we got? Let's see. So down here, you are adding food +1, and it prints the words food +1, but it's not making the snake. Let me move this screen over here so I can see. All right. So let's save this. And the issue is that you're making the snake longer. Prince food +1 is not a mistake. Okay, so let's see what we got. So if snake 2, because you create a snake 2 somewhere. So you're making 2 snakes. Okay, so what I would probably recommend here, what I think is kind of trying to happen. So snake shift register. This is the initial, right? You are printing self size initial position. What you probably want is for this to be I. That's the size of the snake. I don't know if you need snake 2 here. Maybe, but I think you would just call this I, right? And then within your food, maybe we'll call it, actually let's call this snake size, which you might have like let's see, self.size, yeah. So you can actually do snake.size. When you initialize them first, I guess you could do snake equals this 1, and then you do snake.size here, which would return 1. And what you can do is you can print down here, and you can say print snake size, and then you could print snake.size, which would return 1. Let's go ahead and run this real quick just to make sure we're heading in the right direction. What's this called? Snake game.py. Oh, I got an error. What didn't it like? It didn't like, oh, the snake 2. Let's, I'm gonna go to regular snake. What was your thought on the snake 2? Just curious. I could be missing something. Error, snake 2 not defined. Yeah, let's get rid of. The word snake is also starting not to look like a real word. I did find out what the terminology for that was. What was that? That was it is called a semantic satiation, and essentially occurs on mundane words that stop looking like real words. Okay, so are there other snake 2s? Yeah. I think you would do this with one snake, unless I'm missing something. But I think you'd want the same snake object, no matter the size. So let's see. So here, oh, I can't move. Oh, okay. So that's the snake. And when I collect food, snake size is 1, and it moves the snake, right? And I think what I could do here. Oh, let me scoot that down. Sorry, you can barely see it. Snake in like 113. Snake 2 in like 113. Oh, you saw the snake 2 line, yeah. Okay, so I think what you could do here then, like if we initialize a snake like this, I think you were initializing 2 snakes actually. Which, okay, I get it. So you were, but I think this is actually where you control it. Is that the head spot? That's the initial position. Interesting. So initial position should be an array. So we could do like x comma y, comma x minus 1, comma y minus 1. This won't work, first off, but I think this is kind of close. Kind of close to what you need. It's at least in the right direction. Oh yeah, you're good. You're good. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So now if I get this, what does it say my snake size is? Oh, it doesn't. Okay, because I lost the head. Which is interesting. I broke it. Oh, I probably didn't save. Let's see. Nope, I just broke it. What did I break in Y? Let's go back to a single X and Y. Let's see what happens. Interesting. And actually, you know what? Okay, let me get rid of this here. Okay, well, I broke it. And I'm guessing it doesn't like the array here, even though I think it is an array. So this is just a point, right? So you would then need to code the tail. So let's see this here. All right, so now it says the snake size 2. So essentially you need to add to the snake size 1 every time you touch it, but then you need to generate a snake of that size. Right now your code only allows for 1 position, and you really need this to be an array of positions. So like instead of initial position, this should be an array of positions of size snake size, if that makes sense. In Python, off the top of my head, you may be able to do this. Like in GDScript, yeah, you just do it just like this. I don't know if this will work. This should tell us if it'll work. Man, I keep closing command prompt, which is fine, I guess. It's not that big of a deal. You can't even see me typing it, so. Okay, it doesn't like this. So figure out how to create an array in Python. And that's essentially what you need here is an array of values. And that's kind of where we talked about like shift registers. That's essentially what you're building here is an array that you push the old values out, bring in the new values. But yeah, so if you started with size 1 and then you had down here like this, you could say like snake.size equals snake.size plus 1. And then you could actually print here and say like score, right? Because you could just make your snake size that same thing. And so let's save that. Okay. And then what you do is, so there we go. I got 2 points for that. So you can see the score going up, which is because the snake size is going up, and it's going up by several because it's taking multiple frames to get rid of the food and generate a new one. And so you would have to add some hysteresis basically, like where you're hitting a button. Because right now, yeah. So now I have an array of 255. Now it's 511. It's actually doubling every time. And it probably has to do with how long it takes to get there. So you'd want this to only generate like once. And then you'd have to, I think if you search button hysteresis in Python, that would help you get there because that's essentially what you're doing is hitting a button every time you find the food. And then you're increasing your snake size by 1. So then what you have is up here in this code, you would probably in your size, right? Let's see, grow right here, I guess. New position plus self data. This could be good. So an array times size. That's actually probably pretty good. Okay, so new position, which is, what are we passing that in here? Where does that go? So on move, if grow. So on grow, where is that? On move, true. Food position. Let's do food position plus 1, 1. You may actually already have kind of the setup here. Of course, I closed command prompt again. Is in a for loop. Okay. So then in the for loop, you'd have a flag that's like, hey, do I want to grow? And if so, add 1. That's good to know. Thanks. All right. So let's see. Oh, it crashed. It crashed because the position. I see. It's crashing because it's trying to draw a position. Where is that? In window. Try and draw a position here. But the issue is that when it like gets position here from the snake, when it tries to get position, it's getting an array. But this is this. So what you'd probably need, so for position in get positions. Okay, that's good. You have X, Y. What you should do is snake.data I, and then I plus 1. And I think, let's see, I feel pretty good about that. But you saw my confidence level and how, okay, it didn't like I because I haven't defined it. I just do var I guess variable's not right, is it? Well, I don't think and it's Python, right? I don't need to define a variable in Python, do I? Equals 0, maybe? Maybe just didn't know what the value was. Maybe it was null. Okay, so it definitely didn't like the rectangle argument. Oh, because it's got to draw X and Y. Okay, so I think you would do this. 0 is X and Y an array, comma, snake.data I 1. I don't know if that X and Y is like position here. I don't know if this is an array or not. Anyway, I think it'd be something close to this. Let's see. it crashed, but I think we're close. It still got mad at position. Rect argument is invalid. So anyway, I think that's pretty close. I'll post this back in the Discord when we get back to coding here, but I'll take another look here just in a little bit. I do think we're generally pretty close. So let's keep looking at it. Let's see what we got here. So let me upload this file here. Here's where we're at, and I think we're close. But yeah, I'll keep you posted on if I find anything else here. Let me know what you find too. All right, coming back here. Yeah, Casey brought up a good point too. Snake size plus ones in a for loop, you will want to pull that out. So right here, what you do instead is you'd have like a flag, right? You'd say like bigger something, like bigger equals false or something, right? And then within here, you would have, well, I guess here you're already, yeah, actually you just do this. That's it. And then you'd have score here. That's it. Oh, this could be the problem. I don't think you actually want to redraw it here because you already have where you're drawing the snake here. So you'd just be drawing it twice, essentially. So you might not need this at all. Let's try that real quick before we give up here. I don't think you really need this or this or this. Again, I think the second snake, I think you have it in an array, like the snake you need. I think you want to treat them all as one object. If you want to try the 2 snake route, I think you'd be okay, but I don't think it's very, I think you'd have to code a lot of very explicit things. Okay, let's see. I did get, here, let me share this real quick. We did stop it from breaking. Here. So you can see here where we're at there. Oops. We did stop it from breaking. We are getting score, right? The score looks good. It's just it's not drawing the full snake. So then I think it's close. And it's essentially window snake. I wonder if you need to do like 4. So right now up in the window snake, you're saying, hey, go through all the position within get positions. But the question is that an array? I think it is an array. So get position should return an array. It does. So then you're saying, hey, walk through that array, right? For every position in that array, draw a green rectangle with my snake data. And then as long as I have window, do I have window somewhere where I'm calculating it? Just on if moved, which I guess you have that twice. Here and here. But I think it's actually pretty close. Let's do this. Let's print position. And that should tell us here. I know I said I'd spend 5 minutes on this, but I want to do this. Okay, so let's see. Okay, there's my position. All right. Let's also print I. That should tell us how many are in here, right? And then we'll like do print like that. Let's try that. Okay, so it's 0, right? You have a snake of size 1. Okay, it's still getting 0, so it's not actually walking through an array. So that's part of the problem. So get positions is not returning an array. You might not need it in an array. You can just draw green from the last drawn green. You could do that. That's true. That's true. If you said, hey, have a green there, I think yeah. So essentially then you have like a for loop based on size. And so you are making sense. So then you would calculate, you'd just need all of the last positions, which probably you'd want in an array, which is what I'm trying to do. But yeah, then you're saying the snake isn't actually like a list. You do need to know the positions of all the snake, because if you crash into yourself, you need to calculate that, right? And I am it should return an array. I'm really surprised this isn't returning an array of size snake. Right? It should be. So I'm really surprised there. But we can, you know what we can do? We can print self.data. Will that work? No, I didn't think so. But yeah, you could do it like that, where it just says, instead of like doing an array, you could have it do that. Okay, so I should get self.data every time I move, and I'm not. Okay, it did actually pull it. I don't know what this 1, 1 is. This is more I see. Okay. That makes sense. Where am I adding the food? Right here. This doesn't work because it's just adding on to the end of the array. What I need is food position 0.1, or food position 0 plus 1, comma, food position 1 plus 1. That should at least fix my data set. Okay. Yes. So, but not plus 1. I should do it plus block size. But that did do that. And then so now I could do plus, what is it? Block width, I guess. Block width. And block width. Actually, this could just be 0 because I could just have it. You'll have to calculate, right, where it's going to end up going. Let's see. So that did add. So now you can see. So now you can see I have an array of the 3 locations. It's not perfect because it uses the same one twice. But once you get that cycling through the array, at least, you essentially should do that. So let's go ahead and print snake.get positions. Again, sorry, I'm in problem solving mode. That's what I do. I solve problems. Okay, let's go get one of these things. Okay, so it is returning 2, and it is returning an array. But for some reason, okay, it is returning an array, but then you're saying, hey, for position in that array, do this. Oh. There we go. Simple. I just didn't have it plus equals. So essentially what I'm doing there is, instead of just y plus 1, which doesn't do anything, I'm saying y plus equals 1. Okay. Now if we do this, I at least am returning it, but it is not drawing the full snake. So why wouldn't it draw the full snake? So it's like clearing every time, but it is trying. That's interesting. Oh, you know what? I can make this way, way easier. Position 0. It could be drawing it in the same square. We can look at that. Snake game.py. All right, let's see. So yeah, it is drawing it in the same square. And I think that's because they're traveling together. It should, let's see. Yeah, those are all the same square. So when I'm passing new data to it, it's clearly not passing new data. Let's just add like 100. So I can see that it's pushing. Move, wait. Is the move the right place? New position, grow. If grow, really I need it here, right? So if grow, then new position 0 plus 20, comma, new position 1 plus 20. Actually, what I should do is if grow. I see. Okay, so yeah, that is correct, actually. If grow, take the new position and add your old position. So maybe I was messing it up by doing what I was doing. You may have been closer than I thought. Okay, those are the same. It does move me over one. But I think that's because my initial position here is getting recalculated. I really need my yeah, I think that's the problem. I'm reinitializing my snake. Maybe I don't need to do that. Okay. Even reinitializing my snake. Oh, I didn't save. Godot is really nice because it automatically, when you make updates, you don't have to save every time. I'm getting used to that. You're gonna have to iterate through the second and third draws to be on the square behind. Maybe. Okay, so that breaks it. If I don't calculate the snake, it breaks it. So I definitely need to calculate the snake. Here, actually, maybe I start 0, 0. Okay, I can't move anymore because I'm not calculating my new snake position yet. And so actually, you know what? I kind of need snake.move here. I do have Windows Snake, but yeah, I guess I need, let's see, where's the if not moved? How am I calculating moved here? Guessing that is a Pygame. Control C instead of Alt F4. You're right. This would just be false. Oh yeah, and I wouldn't want this anymore. Hey, BWAG. I didn't realize you were gone. We've been playing games here with your snake game. We've made some good progress. No, it's no problem. You can go check out the VOD. Oh my goodness. Well, we did something. See, when I say making progress, I mean whatever this is. Yeah, what's the coolest shortcut? Is it all F4? Yeah, I think the biggest issue was that you had like snake 2, right? So you actually were calculating 2 different snakes. which could be hard. Alt Control Shift Windows L is a really good shortcut. Alt Control Shift Windows W, which I know you can't see my screen, is a very good shortcut. I work in, yeah, so you can see, let's see, Alt Control Shift Windows P, for example. Very, very good shortcut. It's popping up in the background here, so you can't really see it, but yeah. Oh, I am the shortcut master. It is hard to beat me in terms of shortcuts. Yeah, all fantastic shortcuts. So I have opened up now Microsoft 365. So many different Microsoft programs. Window period. Okay, I'm trusting you here. That's a pretty good shortcut. I agree. But yeah, so BWAG. You were actually calculating 2 different snakes, which I think would be hard to grow past 2. So I do think you want to keep it all in one snake. You know, you can, if you had it and your way works, there's obviously more than one way to make this work. But I do think, let's see. So here, obviously this wasn't working. This was throwing so many different things. I'm not sure at all what happened. I guess it's because I'm moving the snake to my food position. Okay. That makes sense. Hey, Journey, how's it going? I did know the LinkedIn one already. Yeah, I went through all of those because I was like, I was having to like search Microsoft Word and PowerPoint all over the place, right? So I was like, what are all of them? And I went and learned them. And yeah, it's pretty fantastic. All right, so let's see. Look at that. That's close, right? We'll grab a third one. Fourth one. So that's kind of with like that array method. And if you can just get it moving every time, you're set. If you let go of it, the snake will collapse on itself, because this is that shift register function I was talking about, right? Where essentially it is like every frame passing its previous value to the previous array. Oh, you can't see the snake game? Okay, we'll restart from the front. Well, you saw the data. The data is the important part. Okay, you watching the snake game now? Because I have a huge snake here built up. Let's restart from the beginning. Doing pretty good. Yeah, we're looking at BWAG's been developing a snake game, and so we were kind of debugging some stuff. So I've got one, I pick up one. Now I've got 2, pick up another one, I got 3. So this is essentially that shift register method, BWAG. Also, there's no collisions, so I can make myself look like I'm very good at snake, which is kind of fun. I could have a snake stream. Oh, I don't know how I managed to get out of that one. But yeah, so this essentially, it's just building an array, right? So what's happening here is every time you pick up food, you're adding one size to the snake. Yeah, if you just stop, right? If you stop, it just collapses in on itself because every frame it recalculates positions. But if you were making a snake game, you would just have it where it holds its heading until it gets a new heading, which shouldn't be too bad from there. But yeah, so essentially here, every time you pick up food, it adds 1 to the snake size, which is like your array size, right? And your array size is calculated up here in here. So you create an array of that size. And then every time you grow, you pass new data and you add it back to the self data. Every time you move and you don't grow, you do that, but you subtract 1. So I think that pretty much gets you that method, right? The second snake method, I think I understand what you were trying to do, and it probably could work, but I think it would end up with a lot more lines of code, because for every size snake that's possible, you would need to add another snake, right? And then you just have multiple objects following each other. In this way, you can do that, and then what you can do is you can say, like here, you could say if, where's my move at? If moved, snake.move, you could say if x, y in snake.data, right? And I could print here game over. And I think that's how simple that could be. I guess we'll move it to after it moves. But that's a big part of programming, I think, is like thinking through, hey, what do I want to do in the future and how do I do it like the cleanest way? But the thing is, there's 100 million different ways you can do it. So, oops, it does not like in XY. Oh, so that might not be notation that's allowable, unless I need to do this. Or maybe I do snake data dot data contains. Anyway, you'd find whatever unindent does not match outer indent level. Oh, I see. Is that my problem? Okay. So let's see. So then let's make my snake real long here. And then if I crash into myself, it doesn't do anything. I don't know if it's saying game over or not. I can't see. Probably not. That's okay. Anyway, yeah, I think you'd be close. So you would essentially do something like this to be able to determine when you're game over. You just have to find, where those values are. I guess technically, when you stopped, you should get game over as well. Let's try it one more time here. Just with that change, and then I'm gonna go back to this. Oh yeah, so now it's game over because, well, yeah, I guess XY is in. Okay, it's because you're always going to be within your array of data. I think you would do minus like this. I think that skips the first value. Let's check. Yeah. So now if I go here, okay, so now there's two values, but it's skipping the last value. Skipping the wrong value, essentially. I need to skip the first value. I'm skipping the last one. So yeah, exactly. So I think you're really close. Yeah. And then let's see what that is. So Python array first element, or skip array skipping first element. Let's see what that notation is. So it skips the first and last element of the list. Is it like that? I'm gleaning this from a quick search. Yeah, check out the VOD here because we did make a lot of changes and we kind of walked through it and I kind of talked through the reasoning there. Yeah, I think you're really close. It's just a little tiny bit wrong, and that just comes with time. So yeah, so now, but if I stop, game over. Yeah. So I think that pretty much codes it, right? And then if I crash into my tail, you can see it pop up game over there. So I can get rid of all the other prints. But yeah, I think you're so close. All it is I think a little bit of just experience coding, right? Figuring out how the different logic works, figuring out how the different like things come together and how to make what's in your mind, like the logic you're trying to say, right, come out on paper. Other than that, I mean, this was solid. It was very few changes really. But I think you were on the right path. And I mean, within, we ended up taking like 30 minutes instead of 5, but we were able to get something working. So I'll post this in the Discord. I don't know that my CPU can handle Windows 11. I think I'm on the do not upgrade list. So yeah, so then you can see it's popping up game over. I'm still populating a bunch of prints. Let's turn those off. Oh, I did that again. Where am I? Okay, there it is. There it is. Where else are prints? Turn that off. Turn that off. So now I should just have game over and food. So that should just give me my score and the food. But yeah, mine has not forced me to update because I am I don't think my CPU's on the list of allowed ones, which I'm cool with. I do like Windows 10, and I think I could. I just don't think I have something. I'm not sure what boot, secure boot or something. So let's see. So now when I hit my tail, for example, game over. See that? So then you would just have to do the same thing if you hit a wall. Well, I guess technically if I hit a wall, it does game over me. See that? So then all you have to do is, if that happens, right? You throw this in there. And then you have a functioning game. So now you're going, of course you have to hold the directions, which you wouldn't want on a game, but there you go. That's it. I'll post that code in the Discord, and then feel free to go compare it to yours. I do think you were really close. So that was fun. Thanks for thanks for tossing that over. Okay, now we'll get back to the magic system. But that was a good time. Yeah, of course. Feel free to keep walking me through stuff. That was a good time. Had a lot of fun doing that, and then excited to see you kind of growth there. That was really good, honestly. Everything looked great. So yeah, go check out, because there was a good solid 20 minutes that we were kind of messing with it. So check that out, and you can kind of see what we're doing there. Okay. Back to this. So where we're at right now, we are putting it in the right spot. We did figure that out. So now I think the next thing is to add damage. So right now, if I cast a spell, I can put it somewhere randomly, right? Like after Kale. And I cast it. Oh, it didn't work. All of that for it not to work. What happened there? I was 95% confidence. Yeah, I tried talking through the thought process too, which I think really helps. It's like if I put it after Dan, I think what's breaking there is when it... Okay, am I going crazy? That was working, right? And now none of it works. Did I change something? Let's undo. Let's see. I don't know. That was working, right? Like I'm not missing something here, right? It's possible that I changed something in here. Nope. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to check the VOD. I mean, that was it was working very well. We even did a bunch of tests. So that's kind of annoying here. Let's see what happens. One of those things, I guess. Let's check what the priority is. Okay, so expected here is 14.955 in between Dan and Garrick. But what is the calculated for fire? It's 14.95. Interesting. Very interesting. Really, I think it would need to be +1. I think that could be my problem. I guess I'm subtracting that out. Okay, so I'm subtracting. Nope, that is right. Maybe I don't need to multiply by. Let's see. Yeah, I just changed it to plus. To plus the speed. Let's look at this. Maybe it's possible that. Let me check here. Okay, so that's Alara's. It's point here. So 14.95 ahead of Dan. Actually, the Garrick is in a completely different spot now. That's interesting. So it's not consistent with where it's calculating people. Okay, so this is above Dan. Okay, that worked that time. And that's staying working. Okay. So now if I put it above Kale, below Alara, what do I get? That went above Alara, that went above Alara. It's not quite the right position. Let's check. Okay. Yeah, let's look through that real quick. So here expected was 19.955. My final... Okay, let's just do it once because I added too many spells in there because I got excited because it worked once. I think there's probably just enough variation maybe in... Well, the speed should be 5. Yeah, creating this consistently is tough. Okay, so we'll do it after Alara, before Kale. Okay, and that was above Alara, which I did do plus. So minus probably is correct. Because I think that would have been right. Let's try running it now. We can look real quick at the expected. So expected was 19.955. And it ended up getting loaded as 20.95, which is one higher again. No, I guess it's one higher again, which we did subtract one from here. That's interesting. Huh. So expected was 19.955. I really think that there's one frame of tolerance. And I think that frame of tolerance is coming because there's like could be a pretty large gap. Like there's not a lot of frames. What I might need to do is make everybody's speed like 1/100th of what it is, so that there's more gap between these. Because then I can control like the number of frames. Because right now, like I can't process 14.955 frames. And I think that could be part of the issue. Let's try that. I think that's pretty easy. Well, I guess I could just do it in code here. So what I would do is just everywhere I call out speed up here. No, it's adding one for every one. Well, it's adding 5 for every one frame. Because of this. What I probably need to do is divide this by 100. And then I'm going to divide this by 1,000. And then I'm going to divide everywhere I have speed like this, divided by 100. Actually, you know what? As opposed to doing all that, I'm just going to come in here and set everybody's speed to 0.05. Oh, these are integers. I'm going to make their speed a float. I think I'm doing all my calculations with floats already. One thing is this will clear everyone's speed, but I'm going to update it anyway. That's fine. I really should go make all stats floats. Almost every single one of my calculations I need to deal with decimals. Otherwise, I end up just having problems. Which I could make. What I could have done, maybe I should, is make instead of all this, make max priority like 100 times bigger. I just don't think I have enough numbers, like because of how frames are calculated. I think this will give me a lot, like the number of frames is going to be a lot higher, right? But because the number of frames is a lot higher, I can actually insert things into certain frames. Okay, it's taking forever. Give it a second. Right now it's calculating. That might have been a mistake. Shouldn't be taking that long. Priority list is empty. Interesting. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna undo that. I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna set these to 5. make sure it runs again. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and just make max priority 100 times greater. So instead of going to 100, they'll go to 10,000 or maybe even 1,000. It shouldn't take that long. Honestly, it should be able to run through like at 60 frames a second. At that, I guess, yeah, a couple minutes. Maybe that does make sense. Okay. So maybe I just want to multiply by 10 instead of 100, which should be pretty easy to do. First off, on these spells, charge time should be 200. Earth 2, I'm not using right now. Gonna multiply everything by 10. Probably better anyway. It probably is better to work in integers. Okay. And then let's go back to my priority list function here. Do I have max priority as a stat on characters? I think so. We'll make it 1,000. Okay, that should. And then I need priority cost. Everything needs to cost 10 times more. So let's see. Priority list. Priority cost. Weight cost. Okay, and then there's, let's see, cast speed. What is this? Divisor. I don't think I'm using that. Am I? Oops. No, at least not in there. Cast speed, divisor. I'm calling it, I'm not using it, which is fine. Okay, so then, now that I've got all of that set up, there's one more, and that is this needs to be minus equals 10. Which I guess that really should be like directional. I should define that before like 10 months from now, I forget. Okay, so this will take 10 times longer to start between each turn, but I think that's pretty quick because it's pretty much instant right now. Yeah, that was not instant. That's okay. Okay, so now we're dealing with numbers small, 140.95. Okay, so if I put it below Garrick, now it's above Garrick, but now let's look at the numbers. Okay, so expected 139.955, actual was 140.95, so it's still adding one somewhere. I don't know where it's adding one or why, because I'm actually subtracting one. That probably does let the animations finish too. I do want to optimize it because I don't want. We'll see how long it takes between turns. Hopefully not long. The max length will be what you just saw. Okay, it is interesting. Let's see. So 139, and then it ended up being at 140, which is interesting. I mean, should this be -2? I just don't know why this would be -2. And actually here I can probably, I guess that doesn't matter. I don't know why it would be -2 is the only thing. I think I'm just one frame off, right? Like at any point in time, I think there's one frame of tolerance, or there was. Hopefully this fixes that. I'll think about why it would be -2, but for now we'll just leave it. So yeah, I mean, I could always have like some sort of animation going on where something pops up and says like ready to fight or something there. So I'm not too worried about that. It's between turns that I think is the big deal. Okay. So we'll put it below Garrick, above Alara. And it's in the right spot. Let's do another one. We'll do it. We're going to do it below Arya, above Dan. Okay. That looks good. But we've been right before. Let's just wait and let things cast out. It does move slower, I will say. Yeah, in an hour it's going to be -3, and then, next time it'll be -4. We don't know why. That's the way it is. Yeah, I don't know why I don't have any random calculations in there. I do like in accuracy, so I put it in Kale. That's correct. Yeah, so everything looks good right now. I'm curious what happens if I put it like below this. Okay, they got mixed up. I don't fault them too much, and maybe it doesn't matter that much because in the actual game, if you put something on top of each other, like two magics on top of each other, they're going to combine. Okay, so below Alara, but yeah, so magics are messing up the priority a little bit. So I've got to think that one through. Well, that might have been okay. Okay, let's go look at this data. Okay, so expected then was 319.955. This is for Fire 2. And 319.95, which is correct because I'm subtracting 0.005. So yeah, I do think this is working. Now let's think about why this is -2. What it's saying is, hey, I need 2 frames before the previous person to go before them instead of 1. I would think it would need to be 1 frame. And the funny thing is, actually, the really funny thing is I'm setting this, which is just new priority times speed, right? Could be this. No, that shouldn't matter. So it's funny because I'm setting this to be new priority -1 or -2, but this is new priority -1. Yeah. Huh. I guess I could set that at 10. Yeah, that's a good call. Max priority. Okay. Nothing in here. Oh yeah, let's actually, you know what I can do too? On down here, when I cast the spell, I can print it. So I can print Ready Player 0, which is the spell, dot max priority. And that'll tell me whether it actually changed. Because really this number is a calculated priority. It could be in intervals of 5. Okay, that's something good to think about, is it could be in intervals of 5. Because you're thinking about it, I'm like adding speed, right? And it's calculating through it. I think that's what's happening, is because the smallest number I can add is 5, there's actually a tolerance of 5. So that subtract number could be anywhere between 1 and 5. Because I have 5 tolerance. If I really wanted to do it, I need to make sure that my tolerance is no more than 1, right? Or at least greater than the distance between people. But this slows it down a little too much that I don't really like how it feels. I like it being really choppy. So like Dan, fire. It didn't work anyway. But I think the reason, like if we look down here at expected is 199.95. And when I cast the spell, where's it at? Where is it? Can I search here? I mean, it's in there. Hey, Bacon, how's it going? Now it went down to 190. Do you see it? Okay, right here, 199.95. So 199.95 versus 199.95. So it actually is right. Which is right here, in case you're curious. It didn't end up subtracting by 0.005, which is kind of interesting. But let me run this with this and see what it thinks the max priority is. I'm guessing the max priority is going to be the priority -2. I just think there's a tolerance Maybe if I turned my speeds down to 1, I think we'd figure it out, and I think it'd be fine. So I think ultimately I just need to make sure there's enough separation between people. Okay, so like Dan here, 200.95. Yeah, and it's going in the wrong spot now, but I imagine it's just when you look at it. Oh, it didn't even, oh, because I haven't cast it yet. Okay. Oh, but I closed it. Let's try it again. So yeah, 199.95, 19, so those match. I think I need more than 5 between people, which I think is very doable since I'm multiplying by, I multiplied everything by 10. I think that's possible here. Now, I think it's possible. Yeah, if you look at it, Schrodinger's magic, right? If you look at it, it changes the result. We don't know if the cat's alive or dead. Oh, that was interesting. Wait, what happened? That was very interesting. All right, so he cast it now. Now I can go look at what the calculated was. But here's the real problem. It was 694.745. If I go up here, all the way up here, 694.745. Oh, duh, it doesn't. So yeah, it doesn't change. It doesn't change all the way up until the spell's cast. I think that's what that tells us, which is good. So ultimately, yeah, it's just tolerance. Instead of this, what I need to do, I think, is that to add in 1 buffer of speed of tolerance. And then what I would do is where I create my separation. Hey, Potato Games. Good morning. I'm glad you made it in here. I hope you didn't get up too early to make it in. Yeah. Well, welcome to the stream. Glad you made it. We are currently working on getting the spell in the right spot. So essentially I have a mechanic. I think here I would just say plus J. That gives me oh, actually I need to do plus 5 times J. And that'll put everybody 5 speed apart. So yeah, so right now, the way the mechanic works, right? I think you saw it on your stream, where essentially you go cast a spell and you say like, hey, I want to cast. It's going to take a second because we're messing with frame times here, so we slowed it way down. Okay, so let's say I want to cast a fire spell, right? And I want to put it here between Garrick and Alara. There's strategy in when you cast a spell, and I also want you to be able to combine spells, so you really need to know when you're going to cast it, right? And so when you pick this and you select a location, you confirm, I want that to end up in the right spot. So I'm looking at all the priorities here. And so like I expect it to be 199.95, give or take 5 now, I think, which is good news. And then if I go down to, I can probably get rid of the decimals. Actually, that means I could probably make them integers, which would help. The only problem is this takes a really long time between turns right now, and I need to fix that. Okay, so looking for a fire, which is going to be 99 something. Where's Waldo? But with fire. Yeah. Essentially, you're picking where the fire is going to execute, right? It should be after Alara here. It actually should be 199.95. It's not. It's 200.95. So the one that we noticed is because, like, this number here, this is the number of frames that you need to build up a charge for. Every frame, you get 1 speed worth of charge on your priority, right? And so this right here is the number of frames. So right now it'd be like, hey, 200 frames, and then you'll cast fire. 200 frames of counting priority. The issue is that because like speeds are in increments of 5, there's a 5 tolerance. So when I place it somewhere, the problem is you might not get it in the exact right spot. At least we didn't with the old system. We did get really close, but it involved offsetting the frames. It wasn't very dynamic, and it really wouldn't have worked for what we needed for. So let's see how close we are here. So I'll put it below Dan, and I go below Garrick because I'm still off a frame. Is that right? Oh, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these decimals now because I don't think I need them anymore, and it just is cluttering stuff up. And that actually might be part of my problem. So I just want I. I is now just the number of frames. It is a lot of fine tuning, but it's only a lot of fine tuning because I don't have a clear logic in the problem. I think if I really thought about it and tried to just taking this a very logical approach, it really wouldn't be fine tuning. It would just be getting the logic right. If I was just a little smarter, we would probably have it. So let's see. So between Alara and Garrick, this is without all the extra stuff, and you can see those nice round integers, which is nice. Oh, it went way down there. Interesting. So let's see what's happening. So I expect 205 frames. I end up with 200 frames because I'm trying to put it ahead of it, which actually I probably just want to add 1 or subtract 1. So that's one note because I don't want to create additional tolerance. I want to subtract 1 instead of speed. That'll help. Time for a refactor, I agree. That needs to be I need an emote refactor time. I'd probably be able to use it a lot. No, I've seen your work. I'm just more familiar with this specific data set. Okay, so let's see. So 5, 10, 50. Yeah, this looks really good, honestly. Just here's 206. Part of it. Okay, so that's interesting. It's not sorted right. See, this is 206. It came after Arya's at 211. That's interesting. Okay, now that I've gotten rid of now that I've gotten rid of that extra 5 tolerance, let's check it out. Hey, we got 100 messages today. Congratulations. That is the sort I changed. So yeah, it is possible that I need to go look at that sort again. So this is gonna be after Dan. Yeah, I'll make an emote for it. I do need new emotes. So I'll do that. Okay, so it came after Garrick, so not as far down. Let's look at the numbers here. So I expected 145. It ended up at 200. Why did it end up at 200? Oh, okay. Well, it ended up at 200 because of this if statement here. My new priority times my speed was greater than my charge time, or was less than, I guess. Okay, so I think that's just because I didn't update this. Oh, I never updated cast speed, which I shouldn't have to because it's speed, right? Charge time, priority number. Yeah, that's a good point. If you're not refactoring weekly, are you even coding? I don't think so. I have refactored this several times. Yeah, so I do take the charge time divided by cast speed. That should give me number of frames. Priority number already is number of frames. And so then it should be putting it on the list in the right spot. Let's see. Interesting. Very, very. Maybe I messed up something in here. My charge time is correct. Did I do all of them? I did do all of them, but I feel like it's not populating correctly, which could be something we need to mess with too. Essentially, when I am factoring this in and looking down the list, here, let me also do this. I don't know if this will work. Tell me if this works. There you go. Let's see. So when I go down the list, like if my charge time truly is 200, that charge time is 141. It should not cast. So I need to do something after 200 for this really to even work. So let's do it above or below Garrick here. That's probably a pretty easy fix. The inventory class. I'm missing something on that one. Let's see. So yeah, it didn't go in the right spot, but let's look at what happened. So my expected charge time was 200. My stated charge was 200. Oh, full regame. Yeah, refactoring your inventory class. I hear you. And then I ended up with 202 because I was off by a couple frames. So that's not too bad. I probably could do 1 times magic node dot speed here. Just that actually probably does fix the tolerance here. Because if I had subtracted that, I would have been at the right spot. Then the question is, am I just like poking to get in the right spot? These are still too close to each other, right? 199, 201, 206. I don't even know how they ended up at 199. That's interesting. Let's do this real quick. Because I'm using a lot of weights. Oh, it's because I used weights. Okay. That is part of this. I did everything by 10. Therefore, I probably have something up here that's like, hey, if it's less than 1. Yeah, there we go. That fixes that. That's absolutely part of my problem, I think, here. Round the characters to the nearest 10. I could. The reason, yeah, I guess I could. The reason I wasn't was because I do want them to calculate like within a move of each other, right? Let's look at this real quick. So if I put them below Garrick, ahead of Dan, oh, nope, that wouldn't work because it's still greater than, okay, so right here. They are all separated by 5, you can see down there. So I'll put it below Alara, above Kale. Not quite. Yeah, I could put them all like 10 down or something. Or like round them to 10. Hey, I appreciate the bits. Thanks a ton, Potato Games. Those are my first bits ever. So, really appreciate it. We've made it big time now. Let's see. Hey, thanks for the subscription. That was my second sub. So, yeah, you're breaking all kinds of records here today. Thanks, Tom. If you haven't checked out Potato Games, he's really great. This is a week of firsts, for sure. Yeah, it's been a pretty big week. So, thanks a ton, Potato Games. Really appreciate it, and best of luck on your comic as well. Looking forward to seeing more progress there. So here, my expected is 205. What is my fire? 206? Yeah, I just think there's too much tolerance. Let's go ahead and put them 10 apart. I think the issue is that I'm advancing speed by 5 still. Maybe I should advance speed by something more than that. Let's see. So I do want to put them, all the characters 5 apart here. right here. So here I do go through and essentially make all the characters be 5 apart. So if they're the same, it basically separates them by 5. Let's go ahead and do, I'm going to multiply all of my, which I know I'm not getting like really anywhere that I wasn't already at, but I think dealing with integers is better than dealing with all those decimals. So I'm going to go ahead and set these to 50. And that should keep me within tens, like in the, so that makes the 10 place kind of the index. Yeah, that's a good point. I think if I do it like this, that makes the speed 50. That puts the 10 place kind of the index, which kind of what you were saying. But then I can use that ones place as like the buffer, right? The only problem actually is I should probably do them by 2s instead of 5s, because as we'll see in a second, there's gonna be a lot of people when they have the same speed. Like if we look down here, 5, 10, 15, 20, 15, 21. It goes all over the place because, oh wow, that's wild. Okay, that's a big part. I'm actually ignoring K. I might have taken K, I might have dropped K out of my equation. Wait, I gotta remember this is number of frames. But I do think that adding 5 is too many. Let's do 2. I don't think that solves my problem. If K equals 0, or character is not magic, use K. And then here, I do multiply priority. Let me check to see if I updated priority cost. I think I did. Yeah, to 1,000. So I did do that. Okay. And now character speed. It is calculating my frames per second. You're right. Have an easy calculation there. Let's see. That's faster. All right. And Kale's going first now somehow. Oh, it's because everyone has the same speed. That's fine. Okay, so I'll put it here. Okay, so that's 6 frames. Okay, here's the, okay, 6 frames times 5. Remember, because it's, or times 50, because my speed is 50. Okay, so that is correct. So I should be able to cast it there. Here's what I'm gonna check. I think where I'm messing up. So expected is 5, stated charge is 200, final charge is 250. Which I think is okay, actually. I didn't even check if it worked. I guess I could check this. So 5 was my expected. My actual was 6, which isn't bad. It's not quite in the right spot. So, why are these 2, 4? Oh, because these are number of frames. Hey, Web Boss Gamer, did you get into the Discord? I didn't see you join. But I'm doing well. We're just doing some debugging. I really thought I was going to finish this. What did I say? At the start of the stream, I was like, yeah, this is like a 5-minute thing. I just want to put things in the right spot. I was like, I'm there. Yeah, that was not the case. I was very wrong. So below Kale. And now I'm below Arya, but I think it's pretty close. I may need more separation between people than 2. It's kind of like luck of the draw. Still says link invalid. Here, I went and updated. This on, at least on the Twitch side. That should go over to your side as well. And when I click it, right, I do get a valid thing and it says, hey, you know, welcome to Seashell Studio. So I think you're there. I think that link's working now. Let me know if you have problems. Yeah, absolutely. Big visible features seem like they're so much easier than like the small tweaks. There you go. I heard a Discord ding. Thanks for joining in there. All right. Hey, got a couple people showing up. appreciate that, guys. Yeah, we do some fun stuff in the Discord. We do some code debugging. It's kind of new, but we're having a good time there. So let me go back. Now that this is kind of working, let me go back to a separation of, well, I want enough separation there that it splits people, but I don't want, like, if I have 5 people all at the same speed, I don't want to run into problems. So maybe I keep the 2 separation, but on this, instead of 1 times or -1 times speed, which doesn't quite get me in the right place. It's close. Well, I guess I could subtract my frame again, right? Because I want to come in the frame ahead of them. That would put me in the right spot. Well, the right frame count anyway. Let's look at that. I forgot that on expect. You know what? On expect, that actually is right on 6. Because on expected, I was actually putting, I was subtracting by 1. I forgot about that. Okay, so let's see. So expected here is 6. Could go like, yeah, I could use some decimals. I'm trying to avoid it because I realized you can't have like half a frame, and I'm counting frames here. So that was where I was running issues earlier. Okay, I think that's in the right spot, right? Kale, Arya. And let's make sure that it actually casts it. It did not. Oh wait, Kale, yeah, I guess it did. Okay, let's look at that again, because I forgot to look to make sure it was putting it in the right spot. But we've had it right before. Before we went on the tangent and started doing the Python stuff, everything was right and working. So I'm not really. Oops. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so Kale, Arya. Oops. Anyway, Arya, Dan, Garrick. Okay, so. Oh, interesting. Okay, because I set my speed so high, I need to look at that. I need to rebalance stuff, but it's fine. Okay, so this is 21 between Alara and Kale. And I'm going between Alara, I'm going below Kale, between Kale and Arya. Hey, I really appreciate that, White Boss Gamer. I'm trying here. There are a lot of issues here. It's challenging, but I think we're getting there. Okay, so my expected was 20, and it actually was 20. And it actually would have been in the correct spot, except my sort didn't work. So now let's look at that sort function and see what's going on. So here's my priority array, sort custom. You know what? I am sorting before I'm adding all the stuff. I think it's still good. I'm just sorting it before I'm adding everything, right? So I'm adding the 2 and then sorting after the fact. I guess sorting before. So I need to sort afterwards too. That could have been the problem for a while. Let's check. I feel pretty good. This is 75%, right? Earlier I was 85%. Now I'm back at 75%. Let's see. So we'll do it after Kale, before Arya. Okay. Not quite. After Kale, before Arya is where we put it, and it went below Arya, but let's check what happened. So expected was 5. And it was 5. But Arya's was actually 4. Actually, that could have been part of a large part of the issue. I'm also processing frames and advancing in the middle of stuff. Hey, no problem. It's always good to see you, White Boss Gamer. Hopefully, hope to catch you again soon. Yeah, we'll definitely chat in that Discord and hang out there as well. Okay, so this is actually really good. So big part of this then is that I'm calculating down. Let's see. So I'm running through frames because this was for sure 5, right? Yeah, this was for sure 5, and then it calculated down to 4. So it actually processed a frame during this, and it could be with display priority list. Let me think. Why would it? Because this is on magic confirm. So it's when I wait. Let me go to my wait function here on this. Okay. So I remove my ready player, and when I remove my ready player, you know what? So there are 2 lists I'm managing. I'm managing ready player, and I'm managing this fake priority list that I'm calculating that's mostly visual. What I maybe need to do is here is actually run off the same list. The only problem with that is like one actually calculates ahead and one doesn't. So I really just need to make sure they have the same calculation here. Okay, so priority plus character speed is pretty simple, which is essentially what I'm doing up here in my calculation. So they are all in order now, right? That's a good question. Yeah, they are all in order now. It is solely that I was off by a few. So let's see. If I do add 5 here, that probably creates too much separation. Yeah, I don't think I want to do that. I could do like 3. The only issue, right? The issue I'm running into is I need to create a lot of separation between them so that I can fit within the frames. But at the same time, I don't want to get to the point where it's so large that if I have 5 people within the same thing, right? That they end up overlapping each other, and then my priority list is useless because it's not calculating correctly. So that makes it hard. And then let me make sure that this is actually multiplying by 1,000. I think it is on here. I'm actually subtracting. Subtracting is correct. That just tells me again how many frames. But I expect the frames to get, maybe not. Roughly 20 more frames when I jump between rounds, which I think is fine. Okay. All right. So ultimately, I'm just off by a couple. I could just subtract like 2 frames if that's really where I'm at, or 3. I'm going to do this. I don't like it, and it's not correct. Because I also need to check and make sure, like, when I change speed, does it still work? And I don't know the answer to that. I could. So when I say frames, what it actually is, it's better defined as ticks. Let me check this real quick and I'll show you. I'm saying frames because it processes a tick every frame, and it only processes a tick in frames that I'm in the state where I process it. But I do it very intentionally, like I call it. Okay, I think that was actually right, but again, I'm kind of forcing it into place. Okay, so here, I'll show you this real quick. Notice there is nothing in here. Nothing is happening every frame. This is what gets called every frame. Nothing is happening. This is my advanced priority, right? My function when I essentially get called to go advanced priority if nobody's ready to go. And then this is my function where's advanced priority at? This is what that function looks like. All it does is add speed, and if speed is greater than, my priority is greater than my max priority, it says, okay, that player's ready to go. Up here in my advanced priority state, this is where I am calling it. And so this, on this update, right, in this frame, it sends a signal to tell me to go do that. But as soon as as soon as I have a player ready, it kicks me out of the state. And this actually is, this is not the process. So again, it's not actually occurring every frame, because in my state machine controller, this is actually where it happens. So it is every frame, but it like passes it through several things, right? So every frame it checks and says, hey, run whatever state you're in, run that function, you're good, go on. It is possible that if I jump back into that state for some reason and I don't have a player ready, it could advance me. But as long as a player is ready, it should never count ticks. So really every frame, it happens every frame, but counting ticks is probably the better way to describe it. All right, I'm gonna check this real quick because I think it was kind of working. So between Kale and Arya, and it's below Arya. So let's see, expected is 7. Where, oh, my actual value is 5. Wait, between Kale and Arya. Okay, that's actually pretty good news, because this is the priority list. Did I read that wrong? I might have to check the VOD there. Let me try that again. Because yeah, that's in the right spot. But I don't think it was in the right spot. It might not be displaying correctly, yeah. So this is below Dan. And now it's above Dan. Let's look at the code before we switch off. Does that all match? Kale, Arya, Alara Fire, Dan. Yeah, that does match this time. It should have been below Dan, but that's because... Okay, so I think what we've proven is that arbitrarily subtracting by 3 does not get me there. Which I probably should have known. I do think I want to put it 1 frame behind where I was. This actually is just that -1. So I'm actually just minusing 2 here. Because that would distribute. So ultimately, yeah, I could just not subtract any. Let's give that a try and just look at where it lands us. Hopefully, the ideal situation is that it should equal the same priority as the character. What I probably... I do think I'm probably manipulating this list enough that I might be getting off my intended, like, where everybody goes. But let's check. So between Arya and Garrick, and I'm below Garrick. So now let's check. And I think I expected that, because I'm not subtracting anything. Arya, Garrick, and yeah, here. So 16. My expected was 15. And my actual was 16, which is within the tolerance, right? It's just 1 frame after. Okay, so I get 1 frame tolerance free. I could probably argue that -2 is actually correct, because I have 1 frame tolerance, and then I want to be prior to the next person. So I could maybe convince myself that -2 is, but we've already tried -3 and it didn't work. I'm also running out of useful brain cells. I'm starting to get pretty tired here. So I'm probably about to call it, but I really want to get this done before we call it. Okay, back up. Okay, so we're going to put it here between Kale and Arya. And we are below Arya. This is challenging. I think we're trying the same thing over and over again. So 8, and it is at 7, which is where I really would want it, because I'm subtracting 1, or subtracting 2, I guess. So that is the expected, but Arya advanced down to 6. I gotcha. It's been a drain today, I guess. Ultimately, I want to put that. I wonder if it's always -4. It's not, right? I am separating everybody by 5. So if I did do minus 5, 4, I guess, that should theoretically. Oh, I'm doing everybody by 2. Okay, that's a good point too. I'm separating everybody by 2. I don't think I've got the right logic there. I think it's going to change. I don't know. I'm being pretty explicit about when I'm calling things. Okay, so between Arya and Dan, I think we're close. So that does put it in the right spot. And then I think the question is, would it actually occur in the right spot? So Kale, Arya, Alara. Okay. Now let's try again. Water. We're going to put water between Kale and Arya. Nope. Wrong spot. Let's look at that. Yeah, this is tough. So expected 23. And it came up 20. Oh, because I'm subtracting 3. I'm subtracting 4. Yeah, I do think I need more separation between people, unfortunately. And it's really unfortunate because I I don't want to create a state where I end up crossing people over themselves because a bunch of people have the same speed. So another digit would probably be helpful. Or I just use floats and allow myself to use decimals. But again, you can't have a decimal number of frames. Okay, let's do that. It is super tough. Let's do that though. Let's add another 0 on the end of everything. That gives me more room. Someone's gonna look at this and be like, why'd you use such big numbers? That does give me room though here to I really got to make this a variable. Let me do that real quick. At export variable weight cost. Oh, direction cost, sorry. Okay, that's going to be 1,000. And so it's going to be direction cost. I think this helps us out a lot, though. This really creates a lot of separation between characters without crashing on each other. Direction cost, which I think is really going to help here. And direction cost. Okay. And now those are all variables, so I won't run into the same issue anymore. So now let's go into my players. And I'm going to make their speed 500. Which I guess if I display it, which I probably will, I could just divide everything by 100. If you look at some of these like tactical RPGs, the numbers are like in the millions and stuff. And I think I know why now. I was always wondering like, hey, why are they calculating it in the millions? I think this is why, because there's a lot of things that happen on frames and you can't have decimal point frames. So that might make sense. Okay, so that's 500, and then I need on my spells, I need charge times to be another decimal place. Okay. All right. Oops, 5,000. Okay. So that feels pretty good. And then I think the last thing I need to do here, oh yeah, let's go up here to where I'm creating separation between people. Here. And I think I can create 10 of separation because everyone's speed should be in the like 100 base. So I should be able to create 10 of separation between people. And that should give me plenty of room to just take their frames, go one down. It's going to multiply by speed, but that's okay. So I should just be able to say, hey, go one frame prior. I don't know if that's, I might end up in the same, I might just be adding zeros to the problem, right? But at least this will tell me if I'm trying to solve the right problem here. Okay. Oh, interesting. I messed something up. Okay. What did I mess up here? I must have missed updating something. Oh, I missed updating the max priority. Max priority is 10,000. Hey, Software Hub. Currently working on the magic system, trying to get to a point where I can tell the game where I want to cast the spell in the priority list, and it actually casts there. I thought this was gonna be a 5-minute task. We started the stream saying, hey, it's gonna take 5 minutes, and then we'll work on damage. It's ended up taking a lot longer somehow. Okay, so one issue is... Okay, so everyone is separated by 10-ish. Some of them have additional ones, which is interesting. Okay, those are the same, which is a problem. Yeah, it is crazy. I'm not sure why they would be the same there. 2021, 30, 31, 40. Yeah, let me check that out because ultimately everybody's frames should be different. Yeah, what I probably need to do is refactor. I think there's a point here where I refactor, and instead of having multiple, it does seem like it should work. Instead of having multiple arrays for like when people go, I have one array that I display and I just insert the spell into it. But I need a good way to do that with my speed. Okay, so let's see. What was happening there? Ultimately, when I'm loading into this list, which is here, people were off by 1, which is really interesting. Yes, yeah. So like that's why I can see the debug or the priority list all the time is be able to do that. And I've got all the print screen so I can see all the other values. I probably could do a couple other debug things, right? Like see my other, well, I could probably see the other array and stuff. But yeah, those tools are super helpful. Is priority cost? I updated that, right? Yeah. Which is like 10,000 now. Speed is updated for everybody, right? I didn't miss anybody. Speed. That's good. Yeah. That's my son there. Big fan of the Pog. Ollie Pog emote. I do need new emotes though. I've had those since 2020 or 2020. I guess 2022. Because he's only 3, almost 3. 2021 maybe. Probably time to update. Let's see. I am returning I. Okay, that's a good point. Is I am putting I in this value here when I calculate this. Am I Okay, I do put it back in. Oh, you know what? I am adding by 10. Should I be adding by 10 frames? Yes. Oh, man. I'm not actually creating a separation. This whole time, I'm not actually creating any separation. Like, the plus 10 does not work because this is adding 10 frames. I would need to keep the speeds all at 50, which is going to make everything go super slow. Which maybe is what, I mean, I don't want that to happen, but like I could probably optimize it. Okay. Now I'm going to add a 0 to all these frame numbers. Yeah, I think that was part of my issue there. is I'm counting number of frames, not speed. So changing my speed and everything doesn't change anything unless I really slow it down. But then I end up with this and everything takes 10 times longer. Okay. So let's walk through this. 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, yep. And then it jumps. So that actually looks pretty decent. And so like now if I add between Arya and Dan, look at that. Puts it in the right spot. Okay, but we've been there before. So let's test this out. If I put it between Garrick and Alara. No. Oh, wow. It even messed up the... Okay, actually, it did put it between Garrick and Alara. Okay, so I think what happened there was just I need to I calculated the priority at the wrong time. Okay, so then Arya should go. Now Alara should cast fire. It's going to take a second. Yep. Okay. And now Kale should cast water. All right. So I think what was going... do you think I do need more time? But I got to figure out a way to do it without bogging down the system and making it slow. That's interesting. So if I put it between Arya and Alara, it's going to be wrong this time, but as soon as I hit this, it goes to the right spot between Arya and Alara. So what I probably do is keep the priority list from showing. Ultimately, it's just because I haven't used up that last 10 or 100, I think in this case, priority, like charge time on Alara, but it's calculating it correctly. It's just it's displaying it wrong for a second. Okay, so then Kale, below Kale, it's going to show it wrong here. Click. I don't know where that went. Arya, cast fire. Okay, I think we're pretty close. I do feel like oh, you know what? There's another piece of this, and that is I am waiting with all my characters right now. And in reality, it calculates it as if they use all their charge time. Thing I don't like how long it is between turns, I don't think. Let's check this out. Okay, so I'm gonna move. Magic. I'm gonna say, hey, after Alara, cast this spell. Obviously did not go in the right spot. Man, this is challenging. And slow. I may have to come back to this. So after Garrick. Yeah. Let's see. We didn't expect it to work first try though, right? So let's see. So my expected is 151. My actual is 151. Okay. That's actually pretty promising. So then if I do subtract by 1, I am subtracting by 1. Huh. But my stated charge... Oh, okay. Then my stated charge, my actual charge time, is 2,000. I'm trying to think of where charge time's coming from. Oh, but my final charge. Okay, my final charge is my max priority, so that's correct. Oh, that's my... I got it. Okay, so let's see. So 151's correct. I do, I guess, have a little bit of play here now. So I probably can go ahead and subtract. So I'm going to go 2 here, which should be 2 frames. Because everyone's separated. Actually, let's do 5, because everybody's separated by 10 frames now. So if I do 5 frames, I think that would do it. Let's check. So everything's separated by 10. That gives me a little bit of tolerance, and I need to take advantage of that tolerance by setting that number a little higher. All right. Let's check. All right, so between Kale and Arya, which I think I just need to wait. Nope. Oh my goodness, I hate this game. Let's see. So my expected is 45. My actual is 46, which should be okay. But Arya's was 40. Did I pull the wrong number? Did Arya click down by 10? Yeah, I already hate it. I hate everything about it. Okay. Ultimately, I think... Okay. So part of this is that everybody is advancing on the thing, right? They're all advancing by one frame here. It's like right there. Alara, yeah, Alara was twice in a row. I think that's because they waited. I might just need to revamp my priority system. I don't think it's quite right. Okay, so like this is between Arya and Dan. There's a lot of frames between here. This should be an easy one. Yeah, so that one's correct. But there are a lot of frames between there. So then if I go cast like here, that's correct. But in actuality, it didn't get calculated that way. There you go. So water, fire, Dan, Garrick, Arya. Okay. Let's do a little harder one. Okay, there's just a few frames here. So it should be after Alara. Actually, yeah, after Alara, before Kale. And that's a bug too. It flipped. Okay, let's check. Okay, it ended up being after Kale. I may not be taking full advantage of how many frames I have between people. Let's go up here. My expected was 66. I put it on 67, which is okay. Yeah, I did put it between Alara and Kale. Did it get calculated out the next time? It did. It came here. Yeah, I think refactoring the priority list for how I'm calculating is probably the right move. It's probably a little too complicated right now, and I'm getting to very large numbers. And I originally created it with just characters in mind, and it worked pretty well. And now that I'm adding additional stuff in there, it didn't work quite well as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and do full moves to see if that helps at all. So between Alara and Dan, the only problem is the enemies won't move. Did I say Arya or Alara? Probably Arya. Okay, so then Kale can go. Cast some magic. Okay, I don't think that's quite right. Okay. Then Alara should cast fire. Alara does cast fire. All right. And then Arya should go and immediately cast fire. Which she does. Arya. That's right. Okay, I think it's getting close. So between Garrick and Arya, does that go to the right spot? It does go between Garrick and Arya. So I do think we're close, but I do think it's a little too complicated. Okay, let's go ahead and reset this. Try one more time. Pay special attention to what we're trying to do here, and then I'm gonna have to call it a night. I think I'm running out of gas or petrol. Let's see. So we'll do it between Kale and Alara. I don't know why it went down there. So yeah, obviously I'm missing something here. Okay, well, we were productive with Snake at least. And then this kind of went to crap. I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and set this back. And then we'll come back to it. I just have to think this through. I will probably end up refactoring the code a little bit here. This is what I want to happen. I want me to take the frame I'm on, that I'm selecting, put me at one frame ahead of it, and then cast it. But I do need enough separation in frames, so I have to think that one through. Or make sure that I really just have a list and I can put myself in the right list. So yeah, a little bit of an L today. But that's okay, you know. Can't be perfect every stream, I guess. I'll go ahead and put this all back down to what it was, because I do feel like I was just as close with everything back here. And then the last one is my character sheet back to 100. And then let me go ahead and run it once just to see, make sure we didn't break anything and everything still works. So yeah, okay, so next time what I'll do is I will finish this. I might try to work the bug offline a little bit because I'm gonna have to refactor a lot of this, I think. But I'll make sure if I do that, when I get on stream, I'll talk through it a little bit. Oh, I didn't change my charge times on my spells. I need a CSV that gets read in for this. So yeah, if I do that, I'll make sure to pop back in and kind of explain what I did. Otherwise, if I don't have time to do that, then I will just do it on stream. All the frame sequencing. Thanks. All credit to my my state machine. So, thanks. Yeah, we're getting really close. I really need to think through like a logical way to do this. Right now I'm kind of in a plug and chug mode because it's midnight. Okay, so Alara, Dan, I really need to keep this as simple as possible and kind of go from there. Oh, you know what? I am counting 10 still, but that's a bad idea. Let me fix that first. Essentially, I'm just adding 10 extra frames between everybody, which I don't want to do. And maybe there is kind of a, I thought about this too, and love some thoughts on it. Another thought I had, I was thinking about this last night a little bit, is instead of being able to put like between anybody, right? Do it kind of like in packets. And so essentially what those packets are, and I'll just separate everybody by one frame. Essentially what those packets are is like, if everybody has the same priority, right? You can't really put a spell between them. Maybe I'll do two. And so what you might do is do like packets. And so you would like say, I want to take this group of people and I would just move under it, right? Like if I skipped over it, it would skip over everybody with that priority. So then you're assigning an actual like priority number instead of like trying to assign the previous priority number. I'd be interested in what your thoughts are on that. I'll just get rid of that for now. So right now there's gonna be no separation between people that have the same turn, which is a problem because I wouldn't be able to kind of insert between any of them. And what that really means is that like if I cast here, well, I can't cast there. If I cast here, you can see expected down there. Doesn't change. Bottom left. So there's no separation between people. So if I cast here, for example, it's just going to come before all those people. There's no way to put them in the middle. But this is a lot faster. What I'll do is, yeah, I'll think about it. It probably is a good idea to just have like an array and not worry too much about like charging up spells as much. I do have to, but maybe I can think through that in like a like maybe you have like your optimized order, right? And then you have the calculated order, optimized order, and instead of doing like a sort based on speed, it does a sort based on that optimized order. Anyway, I'll think through it. For now, I will gonna call it a night here. We'll go ahead and raid someone here. Let's see, who can we raid? Ugh. Let's see. Hey, good night, Casey. Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping in. I'll catch you soon. I think we're gonna raid potato games if I can figure out how. It's not not letting me for some reason here. They redid it. Okay, we'll raid potato games. Working on this comic. So I do like their new system. That actually looks pretty good. Anyway, we'll give some Ollie Pogs in there. And catch y'all soon.